Hello, everyone. Welcome to Reiki Radio. I am your host, Yolanda, and today or tonight, I have an interview to share with you that I don't know that I have been this excited about an interview ever. This one is really, really close to my heart, but I am sure you will be inspired by this phenomenal artist. Her name is Hilary Zozula, and Hilary is the artist that illustrated the energetic alchemist oracle. So the really cool thing about this interview is if you're watching the video, you are seeing her and I see each other for the very first time. It's kind of crazy today's technology and with all the ways we have to connect. She and I worked on the deck together for just over a year. And in that time, we had one phone conversation and everything else was through email. So tonight was our first time officially meeting now that the deck is over 3 years later. But I wanted her to come on to share with you all what the process was like creating the deck from my end, what it was like working with an artist, and from her end, what it was like receiving my crazy emails and translating my imagination. But she also shares with you just her work in general, her process. She does commissioned work. Her work is phenomenal. And if you would like to learn more about Hilary and her work, you can go to her Instagram, which is Hilary Zozula. So go at Hilary Zozula on Instagram. It's Hilary, just one L, and her last name is Zozula. Of course, I will put all of her contact information down in the show description, but I hope that you enjoy our conversation and our official first meeting, and I will see you on the other side. Whew. Okay, this is the conversation of all conversations I've been waiting for. Hilary, I can't tell you, well, you know already. I
I
am
do.
like trying to breathe. I can't even take it. One, I just want to thank you for taking the time, but I want everyone to
Yeah.
know this is our first time seeing each other.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's surreal.
It is, and it's so crazy. So, okay, I don't even know where to start with you. First of all, I have to say thank you so much. Like I hope I don't cry right now, but I
Oh.
can't thank you enough. Like working with you was amazing. I would
Oh.
jump around the house excited because of the artwork that you would send back.
That's
But
awesome.
just to give everyone a little bit of background about you and your work, could you tell us a little bit about what even inspired you to get into art? And
Mhm.
do you classify your work as a certain genre or style?
Well, I've been drawing since I was 2. My
Mhm.
parents saved the work and like so I could see it. I mean, I just kind of nonstop. I always had a crayon or a pencil or marker in my hand, and I've just been drawing continuously for 33 years. So it's
Wow.
been a long journey. I never had any official training. I didn't go to art school. I had a couple classes when I was a kid. I remember very distinctly my teacher told me I was precocious. I always remember that word because it made me, I realized that I was really involved in it and I really liked it so much that I was starting to become better than some of the other kids in my age group. So I just always felt like it was my thing, like I always did it and I always went to it. And I really fell in love with illustration from a young age. I loved books and reading books, and the stories and the pictures together were so inspiring. I just really loved seeing the artist's depiction of the stories that I like so much. And a couple of them had a very specific style that I liked. It was sort of realistic, sort of comic booky, but just very whimsical and romantic, and lots of women with flowing hair and I just started drawing like that. And then I just kind of put my own spin on it year after year and got inspired by other artists. Like Art Nouveau is really inspiring to me and that sort of style. But I just kept doing it my whole life. And my style has evolved a lot. I experimented with a lot of different mediums, and I really got the hang of pen and ink and marker and the whole like distribution of ink and pencil. Painting is fun, but I really feel like my niche has become ink work.
Yeah.
I really like doing that sort of thing. So I guess that if you could classify it like that, that's sort of the style that I'm headed in. That's what I'm trying to perfect at this point, because it really speaks to me and it's fun and it doesn't feel like work ever,
That's
no matter what I'm drawing.
unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
just to like hear that it just was such a natural gift and talent. And when you're saying it, because I'm thinking in the background of, and I want to talk a minute about our process, but you sending me sketches and then watching the way they would develop. And I'm like, who
Yeah.
is this? Like, how does she even, how does she even do this? But
Yeah.
so I'll say that's how I met you. So a friend of mine commissioned you for some artwork, and I believe
Hmm.
hers was all ink and it
Hmm.
was gorgeous. And so I was
Yeah.
looking for an artist and she said, "Oh, what about Hilary? She's the one that did." And I was like,
Yeah.
"You think she would do this? Like, I don't
Yeah.
even know. I mean, this is a lot. It's a
Yeah.
big ask." Yeah.
Yeah.
So reaching out to you and you being like, "Yeah, cool, sounds fun." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
So
Oh, well, when you called me, I had been working on my own tarot deck, just of like random ideas that I had to get some practice. And it was
yeah,
so you know how every card is so has so much meaning behind it, and there were so many different ways to take it, and I was really trying to practice on my line work. And I was thinking, oh, wouldn't it be fun to just make a tarot deck? I might not do anything with it, but just to practice. And I had basically just finished that when you called, and so it was like my chance to like actually do it for real. And the way you were describing the oracle deck and the differences and the interpretations and just your whole outlook on the project was just like, I just felt like I was in a candy store. I was like, I couldn't believe you were asking me, honestly, to do it, because it was something. I remember I got off the phone with you and I called my mom because she knows me and how much I love this kind of thing, just
right,
learning about things and illustrative interpretations of folklore and just all of the aspects of the deck that you created was just right up my alley, and it was so exciting for me. So I couldn't I actually I had to convince my husband, because we have had two kids and then one on the way, and he was like,
right.
this is a big project, do you think? I'm like, you have no idea, this is like a chance of a lifetime, I'm going to make it work. And I was like, Yolanda is so nice and so comfortable. Like whatever I go through, she's going to make time for it. So it was
Yeah.
amazing. It was an awesome chance.
Well, that was the thing too. I think that was just crazy to me is how the way we clicked.
I
I mean, it
know.
was literally like I was like, "Is she in my head?" So for people to really understand this, I mean, I was in California at the time, which I am again now, but you're on the East Coast. So
Hmm.
all of our communication was through email. We
Yeah.
started this right before COVID. And
Right.
we hadn't, like right now, again, is our first time like
Hmm.
seeing each other.
Yeah.
So for everyone to know, I mean, the process was, and I have to tell you this, Hillary, it was probably after the first card I really realized like, wow, I'm working with a real artist and there's like details and oh my God, like
Yeah.
this is a real process. But so I
That's
would
awesome.
email Hillary and say, "Oh, this is my idea. This is what I don't know. This is just a thought."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you would send back a sketch and say, like, "Oh, what about this?" And and then I'd tell her, "Okay, and can we do XYZ?" And you would
Yeah.
just keep building and it would be phenomenal. And
Yeah.
even some of the cards that stand out where you had suggestions, like the Oracle, which is one of my favorite cards.
It's a good
Um,
one.
Yeah, like you had some suggestions with her, and I remember the card Mind and Emotion. You made her
Mm.
hair the tentacles, and you were like, "How about
Mhm.
this?" I'm like,
It was so fun. So
it was
fun.
so much fun. But what is that like for you on the receiving end, trying to interpret, I mean, someone's just flat words on an email?
Well, like you said, we really did click. And I
Yeah.
think that a lot of the ideas you had were ones that I would have come up with myself.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know exactly for sure, but I feel like we have a lot of similar interests
yes.
in the studies. I mean, like just the different things you had asked me to put in the cards. Sometimes I even already knew about them and was
Yeah.
excited to be able to draw it. And it's always helpful for me in commission processes when the person I'm working for tells me, like, it gives feedback, because you'll say, I want you to do this, and then I do the sketch, and then you look at it, and then you can see where my head's at, and then you add your head to it, and then it's like a building process, but it's really comfortable for me because it just keeps adding layer and layer and layer, and every time you see what I've done, then I can hear what you think, and eventually we put it together, and it's really fascinating to me how it comes together in the end, because it
Yeah.
starts with just a blank piece of paper and an idea, and then sometimes it happens in just one session. Sometimes I mean, some of the cards we did and then we just scrapped that and redid it completely,
Right.
and every one of them was the same process, but some of them were more difficult to figure out.
Yeah.
And for me, that was just great, because it being able to hear what you think of each card every time and then building it and putting it together was just like an ideal process.
Yeah. I mean, I just can't get over it. I'm sorry, I'm, like, staring at you because I can't believe I'm like, "Oh, there she is."
That's me.
It's you. But it was so much fun, and that was the part. I mean, I was just blown away again and again by your talent. I was like, "She's gonna be annoyed with me
Awesome.
telling her every picture is, like, amazing." I'm
Wasn't
like,
annoyed.
doing yeah, well, good, 'cause it was just actually showed a friend of mine just the other day. She asked what was the process like, and so I
Mhm.
showed her the oracle,
Yeah.
like how you would draw a sketch and like
Yeah.
how the final iteration of her, like you just drew a face and
Mhm.
you're like, "How's this face?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yeah." And then you built out the whole thing and I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute." But seeing the layers of how you work, and I remember thinking, "Oh, God, I just wanted to show for the people that actually see this in video, because you mentioned how much you love ink work." So
Mhm.
initially, I thought the whole deck would be in colors. So this is an
Mhm.
example, the Seeker card.
I love that one.
Oh, I love this card. Oh, I love
I
so
had
much.
never I had never drawn a bed before, I realized. I was like, okay, go give it a shot. It wasn't
You did
that
a
bad.
great
It wasn't
job.
that hard.
No, no, it's so good. So this
Yeah.
was in color, and actually, all of the cards that are considered major arcana are in
Mhm.
full color. But because of your sketching, I got to see just your ink work too. And I was like, wait a minute, wait, how do we incorporate
Yeah.
that in? So
Yeah.
people will see in the deck, there are some cards that are
It's a good
primarily
one.
ink.
Yeah.
All of them. Listen, your work is amazing. What are you talking? But it's so beautiful, and I love seeing the blend. This even, I mean, gosh, the way you blended the ink with the color, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so beautiful. But one of the cards I always say whenever anyone sees it, it's the throat chakra card, the one where you did the binary. And
You
every
love that
time,
one.
oh my God,
I remember
because
how
I
excited you
couldn't
were.
believe you did it. I
Yeah.
mean, anyone who sees this in real life, I mean, just look at the time and the patience she took to write that binary code in the back. I was like, "Who is she?" Not only are we in the middle of a pandemic, she's pregnant. I'm asking for the craziest stuff on earth, and she's just like, "Yep, all right."
Sure. Bring it on. It was so fun. I had no idea what you were going to ask me for next. And it was like, ooh, there's another card. What's the new one going to be like? It was very
Yeah,
fun. Very
it
fun.
was a lot of fun. And so I wanted to ask you about that too, because I imagine, um, like different projects that you get commissioned for, are they usually just like a single work of art, like, or is there usually a bigger process?
Well, I've never done anything that was quite like this. This
Yeah,
was a lot of different things. And I also don't work. This was the first project I've ever worked on that was this small. Like I knew the cards were going to be a certain size, and so I didn't
right.
want to make giant artwork that would be shrank down and then you'd lose the details. So I was trying, I think I did like 1.5 times bigger than the actual card so I could
Yes.
fill in a little bit more space, but still preserve the details. So normally I work a little bit bigger and definitely not this many things for one project. It's usually like maximum of like 5 different pictures. I've never done
Right.
anything this large. But yeah, I feel like the process of that is similar. Like it's always a lot of like brainstorming and coming up with stuff and a lot of pencil sketches, like a lot of pencil before any of the major ink is put down. But I have definitely redrawn inks before as well, because at the end of the day, like if it's not right, it's not right, and you got to
Yeah.
get it right. And sometimes even when the color is down or the ink is down, like you don't really know what you're missing until it's down. And that has
Right.
happened before too, where people have been like, I love it, but it's just not exactly right. And then that's when it's like, okay, let's get dive deeper and let's get into this a little deeper. But yeah, this was probably the most work on any one single project that I've ever done. I've definitely had projects that have taken this long, but it was
Yes.
really just lulls in conversations, just like working on something and then taking a break because they needed a break or I needed a break and coming back to it. But never this much work. This is,
Yeah. I mean,
or at
because
least for anyone else.
we were together for a while. I mean, it was over a year. And again, like you
Hmm.
had a full human within that
I
process.
did.
Oh my God, she's
I
pregnant.
know.
What is happening? And the baby
I
was born
know.
right in the midst of it all.
I know.
Um, but I want to know more about your work even outside of the deck too. But I have to ask you because I was so excited. Like I could not wait to send the deck to you because I was
Yeah.
like, I wonder what this will be like for her. I can't even imagine
Oh
for
yeah.
her, the
Yeah.
artist, to see her work in this
Yeah.
form. Like, what was
Yeah.
that like for you?
Oh my God. I did cry a little bit. I was so excited when you told me were sending it. I was just like every day checking the mail, checking the mail, checking the
Oh,
mail. And finally when it came, it actually didn't take that long. It took like 3 days, I think, maybe maximum. And I got it. And I think I was on the way to swim class with my older son and I couldn't, or we were going to the pool. It was something. And I couldn't open it because we were like out the door and and I'm like, no, just save it because you really want to look at this. And we got in the car and my husband was there and he was like, what's that? I'm like, it's the deck. And he's like, what? And he like pulled the car over. And he's like, no, we're looking at this now. The kids were like, we want to swim. I'm like, okay, hold on. And we just looked at it together in the car and I was just like shaking. I had never seen anything that I had done like that before. I've
yeah,
had things printed and obviously I like put art in frames and like
right.
put it all together and everything, but not. Yeah, and your editor, your graphic designer did such a great job putting it together and
Yeah.
just we were just blown away. We like I knew it was mine. It felt like mine,
Yes.
but it felt like yours too. And that's what
Yeah.
was so fun about it was that I didn't I didn't feel like it was mine anymore. The whole process of like when I sent you out the designs, in the mail, I put them in the mail and everything. And that really felt like mine. Like I was like, here's my thing and I'm giving it to you. But then when it came back to me, it felt like it was yours. And it was so fun to see that I could help you with that. It really touched my heart. I did cry a little bit. It was just
Yeah.
it was exhilarating. It was awesome.
No, that's the same. So when the printing company, they sent me initially just 2 decks. And
Hmm.
when I opened it, I felt the same way. Like I was on the
Yeah,
verge of tears and I was just like, Hillary, we did it. Like
I
it just,
know.
that's what it was. Like, oh my God, I
Yeah,
can't wait to get this to Hillary. We did
yeah,
it, babe. We
I
did it. Can you
I
believe
know.
it?
I
Yeah,
know.
so, I mean, I can't tell you how much. I mean, just again, the process working with you was so much fun, but it still, looking at the cards, it blows my mind the way you translated just what I would send in an email,
That's so awesome.
It's mind-blowing, and your work is just so beautiful, and just like what you said, I
Thanks.
think one of the easiest parts was, yeah, I mean, you were very familiar with a lot of the things that I asked
Oh,
for
I love
that
that
were
one.
in the symbolism. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, they are just I remember this was it's like, oh, the feather
That was
card.
like, was that the first one?
Yeah, I
I
think
think
it
it
was the first
was.
card,
Yeah. That
but
one,
I couldn't believe the way you brought all the elements together.
yeah. I
'Cause
remember that one so specifically because that was sort of setting the tone for what the project was going to be like. And I just remember going to sleep that night being just so excited because it went so well and you
yeah,
liked it. And I was just like, I think this is going to be easy. I think this is going to be like really fun.
yeah,
And that card will always stick out for me as being like the beginning of everything. It was
it
awesome.
was. But that's the one thing I wanna say about you and what was such a gift of working with you too. Not only is your work so beautiful, but I could trust you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
Yes.
could just say, "Hey, Hillary, I see this and these elements," but I had no
Mhm.
idea how you were going to send it back. Like,
Yeah.
you found this way of designing the card and how the elements would come in together.
Yeah.
That's what was really mind blowing to me too, because I always thought like, "Oh my God, is this too much? Is she going to be like, are you crazy?" And
You
then
are
you'd
funny.
send back.
You said that a lot. You were always saying, "I know this is crazy. I know this is wild." And the more that you would do that, the more excited I would get. I'm like, "Yeah, it's going to be an extra weird." It was great. It was. It
So
was
it really was. So I have to say this too, because I follow you on Instagram, and everyone listening, I mean, you have to go follow Hillary on Instagram. And even in, I have to say this, when we were waiting for like the printing to go on, COVID was happening, all the
Mhm.
things, blah. And I would see you posting the work that you were doing, and I was like, "Gosh, she is so amazing." And I couldn't wait until we could
Aw.
share these images with everyone,
Yeah, I
because I was like,
know.
"Wait, they gotta see the other stuff she
I
did."
know. I
Um,
know.
but your work is gorgeous, and one of the things that really caught my eye is I saw you at some point were working on what looked like a comic book. So was
Mhm.
that a project that you just dreamt up? Like, how does this happen?
Yeah, well, that's a little intense. So I was just driving, I was picking up my kids from my mom's, and we were on just driving on the highway, and I was stuck behind this big truck, and it had a diamond logo on the back of it. It was like a gas truck or something. And just seeing this logo on this truck, I just got this like lightning bolt of an idea for a story. And it doesn't happen like that for me often. Like I'll get ideas and they'll be, okay, that's cool. Or I'll have dreams and that's cool. And then I'll go to like put it together and it's like just a portion. But this was like all at once. So it was a story. It was like a story about a man and a woman and this crazy thing that happens. And it all came together to me like a movie. It was like this is like a movie that maybe someone would want to make one day. So I'm just going to write it down and see what happens. And so I wrote it down and then I wrote it again and then I wrote it again and then another time. And then I copied it all onto the computer. So the four times that I wrote it was all like longhand because I just kept writing it and being like, oh, I'll add this and this and this. So I wrote it all down and then I wrote it as a screenplay. And I went to my dad and I was like, what do you think? Because my sister is actually a cinematographer and
Wow.
she's like connected. And I'm like, what do you think? Like, do you think I could, just entertain this idea? And he was like, yeah, that's great. But like, you're really good at drawing. You could turn it into a graphic novel. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, duh. Like, of course. And so I rewrote it again as a graphic novel just so I could draw it. And then
That
my
is
dad,
amazing.
he's helping me edit it because he's a writer. And so he's helping me edit it and put it all together. And I'm really excited about it because it's just the story itself is it's one of those stories that is so twisty and so turny, and you have no idea what's going to happen until the end. And the artwork is really dramatic because it's all black ink, and
Yes.
it's very the story itself is just really weird, and the things that happen in it are really crazy. So I'm not quite sure when that's going to be done because it's my own personal project, so there's no
Right.
deadlines or nothing riding on it. And I really want to have a couple people close to me read it before I decide what to do with it. But that's kind of been my side project lately, is working on that.
Of course,
That's
in my mind, I'm
basically
like, Hill, you gotta publish it. What are you
it.
talking?
Well, I want to. I'm trying to I don't have a lot of experience in that world. So I was thinking of doing like putting it out there for people to like pre-order, maybe publishing it myself. I'm not really sure yet. I think I have to try to make some connections to see how that goes, but it'll be out in some way, shape, or form
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
That's amazing to hear. I mean, just a logo on the back of the truck and then it became this big thing. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really wild. That's why I felt like I had to do it, because it came
Yeah.
to me in such completion. Like
Right.
it was a full story, like with the beginning and end and a middle and all of it. And it just had to be made. That's the end of
Well,
it.
it's funny you say full story because that's what I feel like when I look at a lot of your images. So again, and we'll put the Instagram down in the show description so everyone can go and see. But your images are so striking. I think that's the best way to say. I mean, they're striking and they pull you in. And
Yeah.
sometimes you'll have images with multiple characters, but even when it's just one single face or one single they're just so striking and they draw
Yeah.
you in. It makes you curious about the person, kind of
Yeah.
like you see someone on a street and you wonder what their story is.
Uh-huh.
That's what I feel like when I look at your work. Like, what is the
Yeah.
story behind this? Who is this? Where
Hmm.
did she dream this up?
Yeah.
So do you get inspired by people, like just on the street, or is a lot just
Um,
come from?
it's usually starts in my head. Like
Mhm.
whenever I go to design a character or come up with a, because it's obviously there's a lot of people in my work, and everything is sort of depicted with a person, a lot of
Right.
faces. That's what I started with as a kid. I would draw faces and eyes, especially, just
Yeah.
over and over and over again. And so people are really inspiring, and interpretations of things using people and expressions and body positions and things like that. So um, but usually I create the person in my head first, and then I'll look for like a reference photo or something that looks like what I see in my head. So I
Yeah.
already have the idea of it, and then I try to match that idea. That's kind of how I get my inspiration. So it
That's
starts in
really
my
cool.
head, and then I look for somebody out there in on the internet somewhere that resembles the thing that I was thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. And you just reminded me too, I was talking to my best friend right before you and I came on, and she was like, "Can you ask her how she got so good at um drawing such a diversity?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "I mean, because the deck has so many different ethnicities, different
Yeah.
it's very diverse,
Mhm.
the deck." But
Mhm.
she was so curious about like how does she get so good at just drawing so many different types of features, and like it's very clear what all of these different ethnicities are,
Yeah.
where a lot of times I don't know how that just it doesn't quite translate,
Yeah.
but you did a great job with that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it probably is because I've just been drawing all types of
Yeah.
people. I mean, even as a kid, like to be completely honest, I grew up in the middle of nowhere in rural Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot of different looking people around,
Yeah.
but I was so drawn to people and the interesting features. And my grandma, she was really into fashion. And so she
Mhm.
had Bazaar and Vogue and all, all the fashion magazines. And when she was done with them, we would get these big bags full of the magazines. And I have two sisters. And so we would just, do our thing with the magazines, whatever. And so I would pull all of the faces of the models, I would rip them out, and then I would just lay on the ground and just draw them. And
Wow.
of course, those fashion magazines had every color you could
Right.
imagine, every ethnicity, beautiful, beautiful people of all kinds. And I just loved it. I just thought, the more different looking a person was from me,
Yeah.
the more fun it was to draw. And I've just been doing that ever since. And I think that it's boring really to see just one kind of person in someone's work, because
Mhm.
that's not the world. The world
Right.
is full of such different, interesting looking people. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how, I guess. I mean, I've always just felt like, we're all the same. We just have different parts that are beautiful in different ways. And that's kind of how
Yeah.
I draw it. I try to draw it as true to the references I can to like
Right.
pull. And when I'm translating something to my head, sometimes I'll I'll take parts of one reference photo and parts of another, like these eyes are exactly what I was looking for, but this hair is what I was
Yeah.
envisioning too. So it's kind of fun. It's definitely just been practice, lots and lots of practice.
I mean, again, I mean, you're phenomenal at it. And it's funny, that's actually one of the things that stood out to me because it was very important for me for this deck to be very diverse because it
Hmm.
tends to be,
Yes.
there are some different decks that are very focused on one culture or another,
Hmm.
right? Or one
Right.
theme or another. And I just kind of
Yes.
wanted to bring it all together. And when Turtle
Hmm.
referred me to you and I saw your page and I saw the diversity within your work, I was
Hmm.
like, oh God, this is going to be fun. Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah. And so it really
Yeah.
was that I saw it even in the work that you had done. It's just all over your page. So,
I thought
yeah,
that was so cool that you wanted to do it like that, because I noticed that as well, just
yeah,
looking at other card decks and things like that. They were all themed, but
yeah,
nothing like so diverse. It was all like you can get this kind or this kind or this kind, and they were all beautiful, but
yeah,
yours was just so inclusive. And the way that you had designed it and like asked for the different sections to be different cultures, I thought
yes,
was such a cool idea. I really vibed with that, because that's something that I probably would have wanted as well. If I
yeah,
was doing it
yeah.
myself, I would have thought of that idea as well. So when you said it, I was like, yes, this is so cool.
Yeah, and I thought, I mean, and part of that too was like, I don't want to miss anyone. You know what I mean? So I was like, and I kind of felt like some of the sections, especially in the elements, like they were groups of like, parts of the world, just,
Hmm.
sectioned off or like even families kind of. Yeah, anyway, everyone will have to see the deck to understand, but
Yes, you gotta check
it's
it out.
so, so, so beautiful. And again,
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough, Hillary.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I've already been dreaming in my head. I'm like, one day we're gonna work together again.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing, man.
I
I
can't.
remember the last day. I was drawing the last little bit because you were like, I need this. I think it was like one card needs to be redrawn or something. And I was drawing it. I'm like, man, this is the end. Like, I was
Mhm.
like a little sad. And I was thinking, like, we have been in contact with each other for a year straight, just
Yeah,
in such vivid depth over this project. And then to
yeah.
just be like, see you later, maybe. It was like, I love her. This is sad.
I know. It's so funny because I was thinking, like, damn, COVID, because
I
I was on the
know.
East Coast for almost two and a
Yeah.
half years. I mean, I came
That's
back.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Since the time we met, I have been on the East Coast primarily. And
That's
I thought,
wild.
like, God, if this COVID wasn't happening, I promise you, I was like, I want to go up. I need to meet the
Yeah.
baby. That was
Yeah.
process.
I
Because
know.
wasn't she also born on
Oh,
like
yeah.
some full or new moon or something was
She
happening?
was born on the full moon, and I had a dream about her before we knew, actually before I knew I was pregnant even.
Yeah.
I had a dream that this owl goddess came down from the sky and was like you will have a girl and you must treat her as a goddess, and she is a moon goddess, and you need to give her a name that represents. And I was like, oh my God, what is happening? And then like a week later I found out I was pregnant, and then we found out she was a girl, and then we gave her a goddess name. Her name is Enyo. It's the lesser goddess of war. She's sort of a badass little baby. But and then here she's born on the full moon, and it was
Yeah.
like 70 degrees in the middle of January. So she's living up to her name. She's fierce and
Is she?
courageous, and she's a little sister with two brothers. So
Well,
it's
that was
perfect.
the thing too. I remember it was so exciting because you and I both have birthdays in January, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah,
and she's gonna be born in our birthday month."
I know. I know. It was pretty magical. It was
It
pretty
was
magical.
also magical. Hilary, again, I want to talk to you all day, but I know I can't take up your whole life. But I just want to tell everyone, I mean, really, when you can just feel the magic in every image within
Yeah.
the deck. And you really
Oh, that
did. I mean,
one.
it
I
was
love that one.
amazing, amazing. I can't say enough. I mean, I think just looking at the cards, people will know, like, well, obviously this was an amazing process.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were just, oh, the
I'm
way that you were
so,
able to translate it all,
yeah.
crazy.
I'm so excited to hear. Actually, one of the things I wanted to say was um, I'm just really excited to know that people are going to have these cards and they're going to experience what we made, and they're going to help their lives. And I had a couple of friends see my post at, like, people that I personal in my life, and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe this deck is done. I'm gonna go buy some right now. And then, they were like, I'm gonna like, I don't really do tarot oracle work, but I really am excited because I'm just gonna pull a card every day and
Oh,
see what it brings me. And it just hit me like how many people I don't know, and maybe you don't even know,
yeah.
that will have these in their lives and will look at them and just feel whatever they feel from them. And just it's really cool. It's just really cool to think about. I
Oh,
just wanted to share that because it dawned on me the other day just how many people that I don't know will be having this in their life. And it's
have your
so
art
cool.
in their hands. And it's funny you say it now that you even say it that way. It was interesting to think to start. I was trying to translate my imagination to you, and you brought that to life. And then when you handed it back, I had to then translate your images into
Hmm.
definitions of the cards because
Right.
I didn't write the definitions prior to seeing the
Oh,
cards.
okay.
Oh, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
Well, that's
So it
probably
was
better.
yeah, so it literally was like this back and forth, I think, of translating each other in some ways, and
Yeah.
then now we had a baby, and
It's just a
everybody gets
beautiful
to play
baby.
with it, the beautiful baby, and
Yes.
everyone gets to play. Gosh, oh
So
my gosh.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm so excited, and I can't wait for us to really get together in real life one day because we have to do it, Hillary. I
Of
mean, we
course.
have to. But
Of
since
course.
we're here and it'll be in the show description, can you still just tell everyone your Instagram?
Sure. It's Hilary Zozula. It's at Hilary Zozula, HILARY ZOZULA. And that's how you can find me. All my
Yeah,
work. It's like a Instagram. As much as I'm not a social media person, it's a really great place for portfolio, displaying your portfolio. I feel
yeah.
like I've gotten primarily my commission jobs from there because it's such an easy place to put your work out. It's actually even easier than managing the website. So
Yeah. But I mean, the cool thing too is again, you get to see even just how diverse your work is. I mean, from
yeah.
the pen work to the work that you do with color and the different
Hmm.
mediums that you use. I mean, it's all right there. So I
Yeah.
hope everyone, gets to see just how beautiful all of your work is. very
Yeah.
excited for every
Yeah.
listen, I was like, "I'm gonna send you another one, okay? Because now that I have more, I'm gonna send you another one." No, really, truly, because
Okay,
I was like, "There's
yeah.
one I just wanna keep one that I don't touch." Like, I
Yeah,
wanna keep it as, like, a collector's item,
I know, I
Whereas this one, I've
know.
just been all over it.
Well, you gotta
Yeah.
get all over the one that's working the magic, right?
Yes,
You
yes.
want creases and worn
Magic.
corners, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so I'll be sure to send you more,
Awesome,
yeah, I'll send you more. But thank you so much,
perfect.
Hilary, and
Yeah,
thank you to
absolutely.
everyone who is ordering the deck and getting to
Yes,
connect to our beautiful
so cool.
collaboration. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, love.
Thank you.
Okay, everyone. I'm really trying to still calm my nerves, bring it down. I am so excited. I can't tell you how thankful I am to Hillary and her beautiful work. I mean, it was so much fun working with her. That process, I can't even fully describe, but I'm sure you got the idea from what she and I shared. And so I want to tell her again, Hillary, thank you so, so much. I look forward to working with you again in the future. And for all of you, if you're interested in seeing her work, she has pieces that are available for purchase. She also does commissioned work, but you can see all of that and learn more about her at Hilary Zozula on Instagram. And again, I will put the links to connect with her down in the show description. If you all would like your own copy of The Energetic Alchemist Oracle, which is a limited edition, you can go to my website, theenergeticalchemist.com, and you will see the links to purchase your copy of the deck. It was an absolute labor of love. And in addition to working with Hillary on the art, my friend Turtle was the one who did the graphic design part where she took Hillary's artwork and translate it into digital work so that it could be ready for print and in the format of cards, as well as designing the beautiful box. So if you're watching this on video, you can see the box. This is the front, this is the back, and on each side, you get a glimpse of two of the oracle cards. Every deck, of course, comes with a guidebook. So whether you are a card reader or not, you have the descriptions of all the cards available. And also, if you're on video, you can see this is the back of the cards, and there are 74 cards in the deck. So Hillary and I worked together on 74 images. Again, it was so much fun. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, you can go to my website and get a sneak peek of the cards as well. So I hope that you all enjoyed this conversation. I thank you so much for being here. Thank you again to Hillary. And remember to always journey in love.